Hey, this is Joe at graybenchelec. Welcome back to the pedal teardown series where I take apart new and interesting pedals and show you what's going on inside. Today we have the RambleFX Twin Bender. All right, so RambleFX Twin Bender, unprofessional, Mk.II / 1.5. So this has two modes. Up on this little toggle switch is the Mk.II tonebender, and down is the Mark 1.5, which is more or less a fuzz face. We also have two little controls here. The one on the left is marked impedance essentially, and turning it to the clockwise is stock. Turning it back, going to introduce some sort of circuitry to simulate like a guitar pickup. And on the right here we have a bias control, which is going to be adjusting the bias condition for one of the transistors. Pushing one way usually gives you more volume, less distortion, and then the other way is going to be giving you a very spitty Velcro-y style fuzz. We have level and attack controls just like a regular tone bender, and we've got a little red Fresnel lens for indication. Foot switch is non-latching, so single pole, single pole, single throw foot switch there, most likely relay switching. 125B size enclosure, top mounted jacks, Neutrik style with a chrome nut. The DC jack is PCB mounted, and the finish is sort of it's a textured powder coat, sort of a, it's got some texture to it, it's got some like grit to it. Twin bender in the kind of classic tone bender font, RambleFX, Hastings. That's it for the exterior. Let's go ahead and crack open the pedal. All right, so here's the PCB for the RambleFX Twin Bender. First thing, we've got our three germanium transistors here. These are the Soviet transistors. The part number is GT402G. Of course, those are Cyrillic characters, not direct translation. Other stuff on the board, we've got our Neutrik input and output jacks, Panasonic double pole, double throw relay for input and output switching. The two ICs here, the lower one is the TC1044 voltage regulator. That's going to be creating the regulated negative 9 volt voltage supply for the PNP transistors. And the other dip package here is a microcontroller. Microcontroller, it's the ATT or ATtiny 25 microcontroller there. That's going to be relaying the instructions to the relaying the instructions. It's going to be giving and sending instructions for the relay based on the foot switch condition. Potentiometers, we have a 1K, that's your attack or fuzz control, and 100K audio for volume. Little potentiometers here, which were on the left was the impedance control, that is a linear 100K, and the bias control is also a linear 100K. The switches appear to be tie-way switches, and we saw that the left switch here is the switching between the versions of the pedal. So in the up position is the tone bender Mk.II, down position is the Mark 1.5 or / fuzz face. And then of course we have our three-way switch, which is mid, stock, and fat, probably changing up some capacitors somewhere in the circuit. Foot switch is the single pole, single throw foot switch. It's also got this interesting little grounding washer here. It's got a clamp for a larger gauge wire, but that's fine. And then it just slips around the foot switch here. This is pretty solid. I like this. It's a little more confidence inspiring than some other ones where it's sort of a half star washer / locking washer and with a little solder tab. This feels a little more solid. We've got some quote unquote mojo parts here. Film caps, axial film caps, 100 nanofarad cap and a 10 nanofarad cap, and then a little 4.7 microfarad cap. This is probably the input cap. Little TO92 packages here. That is a 2N3906 PNP BJT, and that is a 5 volt regulator. All resistors are film resistors, metal film. Capacitors here are probably multi-layer ceramics. We also have a little MOSFET transistor stuck here in the corner, which is interesting. That might be part of the switching circuit. Battery snap here has some strain relief going through a hole in the board. That's cool. And then soldered into the board there. Foot switch is soldered into the board as well. Solder job looks okay. There's some flux on the board, which isn't great. Hopefully that's not acidic flux or anything that's going to eat away at the board. I don't see any like missed pads or too little solder or balled up solder, like too much solder. Like a couple of these resistors are not quite flush to the board like that one. This IC is sitting off the board a little bit. So nothing crazy or terrible, just a couple little things that are looked over. Otherwise looks like a pretty solid build for a tone bender, modern tone bender, of which there are plenty to choose from. This one seems like a pretty feature-packed one. So that's pretty cool. So that is the PCB for the RambleFX Twin Bender. Let's go ahead and put it back together. All right, so that was a teardown of the RambleFX Twin Bender. If you have any questions or recommendations for pedal you want to see on a future teardown episode, let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate you hitting the like button and subscribing, and hit the notification bell if you want to know when I make a new video. I am Joe from GrayBenchElectronics. Thank you for watching.